Snowhead, the home of the Gorons, filled with snow and ice thanks to Skull Kid, but luckily Link changes everything back to how it used to be. But does this really solve the problem? What happens when a raging winter transforms in just a matter of seconds into a calm spring? Does this really save the Gorons and the land itself? Ah, it's that time again. Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope all of you had a wonderful Christmas. Christmas is always filled with joy and snow. So because of that, we are taking a look at the winter wonderland of the Legend of Zelda series. Snowhead from the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, a place covered in snow. Snowhead is a region of Termina. These mountains are inhabited mostly by Gorons. Snowhead consists of three major sections: Goron Village, the Mountain Village and Snowhead Temple. In order to enter Snowhead, Link must first acquire the hero's bow from the Woodfall Temple and shoot the icicles blocking the entrance to Snowhead in Termina Field. He will also need to buy a bomb bag from the bomb shop in Clock Town or acquire the blast mask to blow up the large snowballs that are blocking the path to Snowhead. When Link arrives in Snowhead, the mountain has been cursed with a perpetual winter by Skull Kid. The first place Link arrives is the Mountain Village. The village features Subora's and Gabora's mountain smithy, and the pond where Don Garro's choir is found during spring. The mountain smithy is a log cabin that serves as the home and the workshop for Zubora and Gabora. It is from here that the two swordsmiths upgrade swords for a fee. Because of the curse, the forge in the mountain smithy is frozen and will not work. If Link defeats Goth in the Snowhead Temple, however, spring arrives in the region and the forge starts working again. This problem can also be fixed if Link uses some hot spring water or fire arrows to melt the ice covering the forge prior to defeating Goth. Goron Village is the home of the Gorons living in Termina. The village is a set of large cavern-like areas carved into the mountain. The village is covered in snow when Link arrives, and as soon as the curse has been lifted, the village turns back to how it used to be. The Goron Shrine is the main cavern in Goron Village. It is here that the Goron Elder, his son and the Goron hero Darmani reside, shielded from the harsh winter outside. After Link helps the deceased Goron hero Darmani by playing the Song of Healing, he leaves the physical world of Termina, and Link receives the Goron Mask, which allows him to transform into Darmani at will. Link then heads up the peak, but due to high winds, he has to play the Goron Lullaby to reveal Big Goron. By the powers of the evil Skull Kid, Big Goron has been cursed and turned invisible. He sits at the far end of the narrow pathway leading to the Snowhead Temple, blowing gusts of wind that prevent Link from walking on the path. Big Goron was the cause of the death of Darmani, who claims to have been blown off the path leading to the temple. Link plays the song for Big Goron on his drums of sleep. Big Goron is rendered visible again, and falls into a great ravine under the Snowhead Temple. After the defeat of Goth, the masked boss of the Snowhead Temple, the winter ends and spring returns to the mountain, allowing Link to reach the Goron racetrack and to conduct the frog choir in the mountain village. So after all, Link lifted the curse and saved the Gorons from extinction. But what would be the actual effects of something like this? Going from freezing temperatures to warm and sunny in a matter of seconds, or the other way around? Well, let's first determine how cold it is when Snowhead is frozen and cursed. Water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius, or for the Americans out there, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. But it's not 0 degrees Celsius in Snowhead. It's way colder, probably between -10 to -30 degrees Celsius, which is around the same temperature as it is in the North Pole. This is because of the frozen lakes and ponds all around Snowhead. 0 degrees Celsius would not be cold enough to freeze entire ponds and lakes solid. This is because ice acts like insulation and warms up the water as soon as there is a layer of ice covering it. All the snow and ice melts in seconds as soon as Goth is killed. But what would really happen if you went from -10 degrees Celsius to something like 15 degrees Celsius? That's a 25-degree difference in a matter of seconds. Well, of course, the sudden change would kill 90% of all creatures because they can't handle the huge jump. They would all pass out and die instantly. They would all get a heat stroke and just damn, it's done. But this is not the only effect it would have, oh no. We still haven't talked about the snow and ice that melts in seconds. That's thousands of gallons of water being created in under 20 seconds. Well, things like this are currently happening in our own world too. but at a much slower rate. In Peru alone, ice fields are disappearing so quickly that giant lakes have formed where meadows recently stood. This is thanks to climate change, which is melting the glaciers. Glaciers are ancient rivers of compressed snow that creep through the landscape, shaping the planet's surface. They are the Earth's largest freshwater reservoirs, collectively covering an area as big as South America. Glaciers have been retreating worldwide since the end of the Little Ice Age around 1850. But in recent decades, glaciers have begun melting at rates that cannot be explained by historical trends. Projected climate change over the next century will further increase the rate at which glaciers melt. Average global temperatures are expected to rise between 1 and 6 degrees by the end of the 21st century. Simulations have shown that a 4-degree rise in temperature would cause nearly all of the world's glaciers to melt. For example, the meltdowns of the Greenland ice sheet could be triggered at a temperature increase of 2 to 3 degrees. Even in the least damaging scenario, say a 1-degree rise along with an increase in rain and snow, glaciers will continue to lose volume over the coming century. Continued and widespread melting of glaciers during this century will lead to floods and water shortages for millions of people. As sea levels rise, coastal communities will be destroyed. Now keep in mind, this is only a rise of 4 degrees, while in Snowhead it's a 25-degree rise in a matter of seconds. Normally it would be fine if this happened in a month or so, because then the water can just drain away slowly. But as soon as the same thing happens in a matter of seconds, then it's just way too much water at once. It would actually cause a flood and destroy Clock Town. As the water flows down at a rapid pace, it would probably destroy Goron Village and the Mountain Village. After this, it flows down into Termina Field, probably destroying Clock Town and flooding the fields. But the water needs to go somewhere, and water always flows to the lowest point, which would be the Great Bay, since Ikana Canyon is a mountain area and Woodfall is slightly more uphill than the Great Bay. So then it destroys the Great Bay and could cause the sea level to rise, which could lead to more problems in the long run. Even if all the snow evaporated instead of melting into water, it would still cause massive floods. That's because the vapor would turn into a massive cloud, which would eventually cause torrential rain. It's, well, let's say, an unfortunate chain of events. So after all, lifting the curse could cause some horrible events to happen that would scar Termina forever. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you had a great Christmas. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Twitter and Instagram to keep up to date with the videos.